Ah, hello there. Well, what an awkward moment you've caught me in. As you can see, I'm photographing some top secret documents with the aid of this marvel of miniaturization, the Minox B camera. It's often referred to as the spy camera, and any self-respecting spy would carry one of these. In fact, there's an ad in the paper this week that says spy wanted, must have own spy camera. Luckily I've got one. In fact, I would go further and say that any spy really must have their own spy kit. So I've collected together a few sorts of spying bits. I've got the spy camera here. I've also got one of these, which is a vital bit of kit for any spy to have. This is a very ordinary newspaper, but it's used in a very special way. So what I'm going to do is show you how this works. Now, this is a trade secret. This is not really to be spread at large, but I'll show you this one spying tip. So what you do is you get a perfectly ordinary newspaper, and you've got some holes here, one here, and one here, and so you can then actually do your spying completely inconspicuously. So allow me to demonstrate. Okay, so I'm now spying. I'm literally spying through the spy holes of this newspaper. It's completely inconspicuous. Nobody can tell what I'm doing. I'm just an ordinary bloke in a cafe or wherever it might be, on a station platform or wherever I want to do a bit of spying. This is an invaluable spying tool. And of course, if I get bored with spying and actually want to read the newspaper, I can even do that if I want to. Even though this is the Daily Star, I'd have to be quite bored, but in a pinch, yes, I would read it and then carry on with spying. Vital piece of spying kit. Another very important piece of the spying kit that is often required is one of these. This is a Folsom Stash, and all you do is you pop it onto your upper lip here. They can be a little tricky to fix on, so I'm going to demonstrate with a handy piece of sellotape that I've got here just for the purpose. Now, this technique can be used by any spy, by a male spy or even a female spy. Ladies too can use this approach, and I'll show you how effectively it works. All you need is your little roll of sellotape, which you just break off nicely and inconspicuously where no one can see you. Your false moustache, of course. Put that on there, and away we go. Okay, so I've now assumed a completely different appearance. Anybody can use this technique. Nobody would know who is actually behind this moustache. It's a very effective disguise. This one is coloured a sort of a bluey green, as you'll notice. And the purpose of that, you can get them in all colours, or you can colour them in yourself with coloured pens. The purpose of that is basically the element of surprise. Nobody would expect a spy wearing a false moustache to draw attention to themselves by wearing a bright blue-green false moustache. If anybody should recognise you, you can invert it. That's a special spying word we use when adjusting our moustaches. and again a completely different appearance. So a very, very useful piece of kit. Actually, I'm going to leave the sellotape on that one because that's going to come in useful in the field. Another piece of spying kit that's very useful is the simple hat. This is a hat. Hats have been known about for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. They're still an effective disguise. If I put this hat on, again, I'm a completely different person. And if I do get recognised, or if I just want a change of disguise, then all I do is quickly take that one off and pop on another kind of hat. And there we are. I could be a sea captain, I could be a Greek fisherman, or any number of things you care to mention. So there we are. You could even, for maximum surprise element, you could in fact wear both hats. Yeah. So now I'm thoroughly and completely disguised. Very effective, I think you'll agree. What else can I tell you? Code words. Code words are very important. You may be sitting on a park bench somewhere, waiting to meet a fellow spy, and you're going to need a code word or a code phrase. Something like, thanks to our wise leader, how pleasant the weather has become in the later part of August. To which the appropriate response would be, you are certainly correct, comrade. And if the person who's sat down next to you says that, you know that they're on your team, they're on your side, and they're ready to do a spot of spying. If they say, well, actually I prefer mid-July, or really the spring is my favourite season, well then you know that you're in danger. This is not one of your fellow spies, and you've revealed the code word inadvertently to somebody you shouldn't have. And you deal with that situation accordingly, perhaps by popping a hat or a Folsom Stash on and making your excuses and walking away would be the best way, I think. Right, we also have this is a good little trick. If you're in a tricky situation, a compromising situation, you're dealing with the enemy but they've not rumbled who you are, and you go to shake hands with them, there's a chance that they could at that point discover your identity. So a very good ploy to use is one of these. This is a false hand. This is a brass hand. It's a hand made out of brass, and what you can do is you can simply pull down the end of your sleeve, put the hand there, somebody goes to shake your hand, you hold out the brass hand, they shake the brass hand, I'll demonstrate with my other hand which is not made of brass, and they pull off the brass hand, leaving you free to make your escape. Very effective. Something I've used on, well, I was going to say more than one occasion. I haven't even used it on one occasion. I'm still practicing, but when I do come to use it, I think it's going to be very effective. The final trick, the final spying trick that I'd like to share with you is the matter of invisible ink. This is an ordinary looking pen, and there's a good reason for that, is because it is an ordinary pen. But most spies like to use a pen that writes invisibly. Now, where are you going to get one of those from? Seriously. You can get brass hands, you can get Minox Bs, you can get hats, you can get newspapers. Very difficult to get hold of a pen that writes in invisible ink. So I've got here the next best thing. This is a pen that doesn't work, and what I'm going to do is demonstrate. So I'm going to take some note paper here, and I can write whatever secret stuff I want. I'm going to write some secret stuff now. Put the top on. We don't want the pretending to run out. And as you can see, there's nothing at all on the paper. So you've given away no secrets whatsoever. And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you can get any more secure than that in the spying log. So there we are. Those are my tips for being a spy. Now, how to use your Minox camera. So a slightly unusual camera to use if you're not used to them, but pretty straightforward once you find your way around it. So to cock the shutter and open the lens, pull, there's the lens. And to take a light reading, this is the light meter here. The B has a built-in light meter, and as I push this button, you should see the needle swing to give us the light reading. And then this is the shutter speed dial. So what you do is you turn the shutter speed dial by pushing down on it and rotating until this little triangle here points to the line that corresponds to where the needle is, and that gives us our setting. And as it's pointing into the light right now, you can see that we've gone to 1,000th of a second. Focusing is very simple on these cameras. They use such a tiny film that they've got massive depth of field. And so it's really pretty much a question of zone focusing. So here's the focus wheel. If we set it to about here, it will give us 2 meters to infinity. Yeah. It's there's the zone on that little mark there. So here we are set to between 1 and 2 meters. And here we're set to between 1 meter and 0.6 meters. So as you can see, it's very, very simple to focus. The chain on the Minox is not just aesthetic, and it's not just for carrying. You'll be able to see that it's got a number of little dots on it. There's one. There's another one, and there's another one, and these are for close focus, and these correspond to the numbers on the dial here. So we've got 0.1 of a meter on this particular camera. We've got 0.2 meters on this particular camera, 0.4 meters, 0.3, 0.4, 0.6. And those numbers correspond to these little raised indentations on the chain here. So that's a way to get accurate close focus. Here's the shutter release. Just press it, click, there we go, and close it when you want to put it away. To change the film, we turn the camera over, open, push this little notch here with a fingernail, and the film chamber slides open. Now the film gate has to be open, which is here when you put a film into the camera. So to open the film gate, you don't push this part of the camera here. What you actually do is you push this part of the camera there, and the film gate is then open, and we can then pop in a film. It does look like 8mm actually, and we just pop that in here, nice and easy. And we then close the camera up, and we're then ready to go again. So there we are. that's the Minox B. It's a lovely little thing. Very, very nicely made. They are available. There's plenty of them still around in good order. It's got a little leather case, this one, which is a nice touch. So we'll pop it in there, and we're ready to photograph several more secret documents in complete secrecy and anonymity. So there we are. Well, hopefully we've learned something about the Minox B and the spine lock, and thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you again next time.